Hey everyone, Sean from qwerty Comics. Thanks for joining today. So I've had a few requests from some folks about like how do I look at books to make sure that they're like 9.8s, or how do I really understand like grading and quality. While I'm not a professional grader, I have learned that certain things will really bump down a grade. And so I wanted to spend some time today to just like go over a couple of books that I have here, just to kind of like point out a couple of things that will decrease the grade. And so I wanted to just share that with y'all, and so that you can all walk away when you start looking at books to kind of look for these things to understand if you're really wanting a high grade, that you are looking at certain parts of the book, certain quality pieces of the book, and understand what is fixable with like a press and clean, and what is something that is probably going to stay there. So before we get started, please give a thumbs up if you like the video at the end. Make sure to subscribe for future content, and let me know your comments down below regarding what you do when you start looking at books when you go to purchase them. So the books I have here today are not 9.8 quality books. I do want to preface that. They have a lot of flaws to them. I'm very well aware of the quality is not even like 9s. Some of them might be, but I did want to just kind of show you the things that you need to look for when you purchase a book. So the first one we have here is a copy of Ms. Marvel number 4. First thing you can see is this. You can see this crease in the cover. That's a huge ding to the quality of it. Another thing is looking at the spine. You can see there's some spine ticks here. I think a lot of people will sometimes only look at the spine. And so that's something that you want to be aware of, that there's more than just the spine to the quality of the book. This one also has a small tear right there. So that's a tear will take down a grade more than a spine tick, as well as this very large, they call it dog ears, like the fold over, but this is like a big fold crease. And then the last thing I wanted to show in this one is, it might not show up on the video, but we'll find out. Just along here, there's just some like dirt, if you want to say, or just like some just like the paper's not as white. That is something that you can definitely clean on a book. And then here is some staining. That may or may not be cleaned. That is something that you would need to probably have a professional do. There are some like tutorials out there where people will give you some tips on how to do stuff. I don't recommend doing it to a valuable book. Obviously try it on some dirt cheap books. This is a Ms. Marvel number 1. Got a decent price on it, but things I wanted to notice here is there's a little ding in the corner, a little crunch as they like to call it. And then down here, which I think a lot of people might not ever really look for, is the corner here is rounded, meaning it's worn on the shelves. You want a really crisp, nice, sharp edge to the comic book. You can see it on, sorry, my microphone. You can see it in this corner here as well. It's not crisp and sharp. This one has some, the back of the book has some cleaning that can be done to it, which a special type of eraser will do that. And then we have, this one's not too bad, we have this Kazar number 1. You'll notice that the wrap on it, you can see the white, that it could either be a poor wrap job, which is just through the publisher, or it could be a spine roll. In this case, just looking at the back, it is not the best wrap, so you can see the black from like the next, or like where the cut line was supposed to be. Again, this one has some staining up here. That I might be able to get out with some cleaning techniques that I've been researching. And then it looks like it has a minor spine roll. So you can kind of see, if I get close enough, sorry, you might not be saying, you see some of the pages come out over the cover. This one is sort of it's like off-centered a little bit. Yeah, so it looks like it could be corrected just a little bit, which is easy. That's with a humidifying chamber and a just slowly doing it so you don't get fingerprints on it. And then this is always like heartbreaking when you see it too, like a nice new book. So we have Something's Killing the Children, number 10. This one here, you can kind of see right there an unfortunate little corner crunch with a color break, so that will be down. This book is probably like a 9.2. There's some dings along the spine, but other than that, this one's pretty good. There's some corner softening as well. And then we have this Marvel Team Up number 95, which is the first appearance of Mockingbird. This one, I pressed it and did some cleaning to it, but it's still a mid to mid-low grade. I would probably say more mid, but first thing here is you can see just some of the color has faded off, just rubbed off. And then we have, come on, don't focus on my face. There we go. We have some dog earring there. And then we have some rounded edges up here. And then, yeah, the back of this book is not too fun. We have some staining all along here, all along the top. And I believe, yeah, the other thing with this book is the where the staples are, the paper has, the staples have like kind of torn and staples have torn like right here a little bit. So the book is not like tight in the binding, in the cover binding. So you can move the inside of the interior of the book up and down a little bit of the cover. So those are things to kind of to look for. So this book, I think I paid like $20 for it. I was like, I heard some stuff about Mockingbird. I'm just gonna grab it. So those were this book has probably the worst damage out of all of them. But it still presents really well, which is also nice. And then the other thing you want to look for is obviously the page colors. And let me grab it really quick. I have this, where did I get them? Oh shoot, they're not in here. Never mind on that. I had some of these little cards, and they have different types of paper white color to it. So you have like pure white, which is usually like an off-white, to all the way to like brittle or brown. And so that's something you want to look for on these older books as well. There's a bunch of stuff that you can look at for books, but Another thing to look for, obviously, is if there's ripples in the book. That means it has water staining to it. And sometimes you can see water staining if you bring a black light up to it. So I have purchased a black light. I learned from that because I bought X-Men issue 101 and paid a good chunk of change because it was super crisp, super clean. And I was like, oh, it has some minor rippling to it. This is fine. It's probably like a 9.2, 9.3, a 9.4, 9.3, 9.4. And, I went to have it pressed. The presser at that time, this is before I learned how to do any of this stuff myself, was like, yeah, there's some major water damage to this book. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, there's some major water damage. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, is there anything you can press out? They're like, you can't like really press out the water damage because it like stained the book. And I was like, oh. And so he was like, I can try to get the book as flat as possible, but it's still going to have sort of that, the staining of water inside of it. So I was like, oh shit. So came back a 7. It looks, if you look at it dead on, it looks like it could be a 9.4, 9.6, but it is a 7 because of that. Another thing to think about is cover tanning. So that's when the cover just starts to fade to being in sunlight too long, too much oxygen. I'm not even going to say the word. Too much oxygen. The process of the chemicals in the paper oxidizing and turning kind of like a tannish brown. So I had, again, a beautiful copy of the first appearance of Havoc, and the cover had some tanning to it, but I had nothing to compare it to. So this is another thing to think about, is if you are buying those older books, it's great to have a comparison to either know what a high quality grade looks like and what the book you're looking at. You can also bring along those, the paperweight component with it, and then you can compare that to the whites on the cover so you can see if there is cover tanning to it or the pages itself. So those are things that I try to look for when I'm grading some books. Knowing whether or not do I send this out and sort of thinking it's a 9.8, or do I hold it back and, sell it raw, or maybe it will be big enough down the line to know that, hey, it doesn't matter what the grade comes back. 9.8 is fine. Look at all these Ultimate Fallout 4s where, all of the lower grades are starting to go up because everyone just wants it, even though some people can still find these things for cover price in some places. So hasn't happened to me yet, but I'll be kind of excited when I do get that. The thing for me is I live in a city full of comic book collectors, and so people know where to find stuff and where to pick up certain books. So it's hard to find those old beautiful books because they get snatched up really quick, and then the new hot books, you have to be at the right place at the right time. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this starts helping you train your eyes a little bit more so that you know what things you should be looking for in a book. I'm not a professional grader, so I don't know how much this will pull down the grade, but it will allow you to understand if you start seeing all these things with the book and you're like, okay, and the person's like, oh, it's a 9.4, and then you're like, well, there's staining on it. There's some spine ticks here. There's a couple of tears in it. I don't know if this is a 9.6. And so this will help you, because especially if you are buying raw to get it graded, will help you understand how much you want to put into the book, whether it's cleaning, pressing, and then what you think the grade might be. Things I've seen that get the huge hit are the cover tanning, tears, creases and folds. Another one that I forgot to mention is scratches to the cover. I had a beautiful copy of First Appearance of Jubilee, thought it was a 9.8, had a huge scratch in the back that I didn't see because you have to hold it in the light kind of like that to see the scratch on it. And then when I got it back, I was like, oh shit, came back an 8. So I was like, okay, I learned from that one, but hey, it's graded. So take what you want from this. Start looking at your older books, thinking about like, okay, I see these things. And then if you want to invest in one of those more expensive books and you're looking at raw, make sure you kind of make that list of things to look for. Don't just look at that spine. That spine is a component, but there's so much more to it. One last thing I remembered is rusty staples. That will really bring down a book a lot. I've seen some people replace the staples and it not get slapped with a restoration grade, but if the staple rust starts getting into the paper and to the cover, that's going to really bring down the grade, even if you did replace that staple. So things to know. So let me know what you think. Is this helpful? If so, do you have other techniques that you use when you're looking at books? Let me know down in the comments below. And I have some more stuff coming out soon, so I will talk to y'all later. See ya. Bye.